Most people believe their bank account is a direct reflection of their hard work or luck. But what if I told you there is an invisible virus living inside your brain that is specifically designed to keep you poor? This evolutionary relic was once meant to save your life, but in the modern economy, it acts as a parasite that sabotages your every move. You feel its presence every time you hesitate on a life-changing opportunity or choose the comfort of safety over the potential for growth. This is not just a bad habit, it is a psychological trap hardwired into your DNA for thousands of years. Today, I am going to show you how to identify this hidden predator and finally break the cycle that is killing your wealth. To understand why you struggle today, we have to travel back to a time when survival was a daily gamble. Our ancestors lived in a world where food, water, and shelter were genuinely limited resources. Every decision they made was governed by the brutal reality of physical lack. In those harsh environments, the human brain developed a specialized survival mechanism. If you stumbled upon a source of energy, you consumed it immediately because tomorrow was never guaranteed. This instinctual drive to hoard and protect was the difference between life and death. This ancient programming is deeply embedded in your limbic system, the part of the brain responsible for emotional reactions. It functions like a biological alarm system that never turns off. Its primary goal is not to make you rich, but to keep you alive until sunset. Back then, taking a risk meant potentially losing everything with no safety net to catch you. Caution was rewarded with survival, while boldness often led to a quick and violent end. The cautious survivors are the ones who passed their genes down to you. The problem is that the world has evolved at a lightning pace while our biology has remained stagnant. We are using Stone Age hardware to navigate a high-tech, globalized economy. This creates a massive friction between your instincts and your financial goals. Today, you are surrounded by more wealth and information than any king in human history. However, your brain still scans the horizon for threats that no longer exist. It treats a dip in the stock market like a lethal predator stalking your camp. This biological mismatch forces you to view the world through a lens of extreme limitation. You start believing that for someone else to win, you must somehow lose. You see the economy as a fixed pie rather than an ever-expanding universe of value. This is the origin of the scarcity virus that is currently suffocating your potential. It is a legacy system designed for a world of shadows and hunger, not for a world of leverage and compound interest. You are fighting a modern war with an ancient, broken map. This map was forged in the harsh reality of the Pleistocene, where every calorie found was a victory against starvation. Survival depended on hoarding resources and fearing the unknown because a single mistake meant certain death. In that brutal environment, being overly cautious was the only way to ensure your bloodline continued. Fast forward to today, and the environment has changed completely, but your brain chemistry remains frozen in time. We live in an era of digital scale and infinite connectivity, yet your amygdala is still screaming about predators in the bushes. This creates a constant friction that burns through your mental energy and keeps you trapped in survival mode. Because of this ancient programming, your mind naturally defaults to a zero-sum game. You look at a successful entrepreneur and feel a pang of resentment instead of a spark of inspiration. Your brain convinces you that their success somehow subtracts from the total amount of wealth available for you. This is a fundamental technical failure of your internal operating system. Your prefrontal cortex wants to build a legacy, but your primitive brain is busy counting pennies and avoiding even the smallest risks. This internal conflict is why you feel paralyzed when it is finally time to invest in your own growth. Most people spend their entire lives reacting to this invisible pressure without ever questioning its source. They stay in soul-crushing jobs for decades because the virus tells them that a steady paycheck is the only thing keeping them safe from the cold. They trade their most valuable asset, time, for the thin illusion of temporary security. This cycle creates a hard ceiling on your wealth that no amount of extra effort can ever break through. You are essentially trying to run a high-speed modern program on hardware that hasn't been updated in 50,000 years. To move forward, you must first recognize exactly how this virus has hijacked your perception of reality. This realization hits like a physical blow when you finally see the bars of the cage you built for yourself. You have been calling it security, but in reality, it is a slow-motion strangulation of your future. Every time you chose the certain path over the uncertain one, you were feeding the very parasite that wants to keep you small. The crisis begins the moment you decide to break free and aim for something greater than a mere paycheck. Your biological alarm system goes into overdrive, flooding your body with cortisol and screaming that you are making a fatal mistake. This is not your intuition protecting you, it is a legacy glitch trying to reboot your fear. You must understand that in the modern world, the traditional definition of safety has become the ultimate risk. While you are busy protecting what you have, the global economy is shifting and devaluing your stagnant assets. The virus convinces you to hold on tight to a sinking ship while the lifeboats are drifting away. Think about the last time a genuine opportunity crossed your path and you felt that familiar tightening in your chest. That was the virus identifying a threat to its control and successfully shutting down your ambition. You walked away feeling relieved, unaware that you had just signed another year of your life over to mediocrity. Once you recognize this pattern, the illusion of your current reality begins to crumble before your eyes. You start to see that your bosses, your peers, and even your family are often just hosts for the same scarcity mindset. The comfort you once found in their advice now feels like a heavy weight pulling you back into the mud. This creates an internal conflict that is impossible to ignore once the veil has been lifted. Your rational mind sees the logic of leverage and growth, but your primitive instincts are still fighting for the scraps of yesterday. You are caught in a psychological tug-of-war where the stakes are nothing less than your entire financial destiny. Every single day you spend operating under the old rules is a day you are paying a massive, invisible tax on your potential. The opportunity cost of your fear is far higher than any financial loss you could ever suffer in a bad investment. You are losing the only resource you can never get back, and the virus is laughing all the way to the bank. We have reached a point of no return where the old map is not just inaccurate, it is actively leading you toward a cliff. To survive the modern economy, you have to do the one thing your ancestors were terrified to do: let go of the shore. It is time to stop surviving and start designing a reality that the scarcity virus cannot touch. Stepping into the unknown feels like a death sentence to your primitive brain, but staying where you are is the true catastrophe. The world has shifted into a new paradigm where the traditional safety nets have become cages. If you continue to play by the rules of survival, you are guaranteed to be left behind in a world that rewards the bold. This is the moment where you must realize that the economy is no longer a physical battleground, but a psychological one. While you are busy hoarding crumbs, the entire landscape of wealth is being rewritten by those who have deleted the scarcity code. You are standing at a crossroads where your old instincts have become your greatest enemies. Every moment you spend clinging to the illusion of security, you are being drained of your creative power. The virus feeds on your hesitation, turning your dreams into distant memories of what could have been. You cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation of fear, yet that is exactly what you have been trying to do for years. To break free, you have to accept that the person you were yesterday cannot survive the world of tomorrow. You must be willing to burn the old map and face the void without the comfort of your familiar limitations. This transition is painful, but it is the only way to reclaim the wealth that has been stolen from you by your own biology. You step out into this new world with a burst of motivation, ready to rewrite your story and reclaim your future. You start researching investments and looking for opportunities that previously felt invisible to your survival-focused brain. But the moment you share your vision, you hit a wall of skepticism from the people you trust most. These well-meaning friends and family members become the first major obstacle on your path to wealth. They warn you about the risks and tell you stories of others who failed, projecting their own scarcity onto your potential. Their common sense is actually a collective defense mechanism designed to keep everyone in the same safe, stagnant pond. You try to push through their doubt, but you soon realize that your internal software is still running the old scripts. You find yourself obsessing over the smallest expenses while ignoring the massive opportunities for high-leverage growth. You are trying to build a skyscraper, but you are still using the same cheap, brittle materials of your impoverished past. Then comes the first real setback, a small financial loss or a project that doesn't immediately take off. The scarcity virus seizes this moment to flood your mind with intense doubt and physiological panic. It treats this minor hiccup like a total catastrophe, urging you to retreat to the safety of your old, suffocating routine. This is where most people give up, convinced that the world is indeed as limited as they originally feared. You begin to hypothesize that the problem isn't the external market or your lack of luck. You realize that you are trying to win a new game using the outdated rules of a world that no longer exists. As you observe those who have actually achieved massive wealth, you make a startling discovery about their psychology. They don't view a loss as a threat to their survival, but as a necessary data point for their next move. This shift in perspective is the exact opposite of everything your biology has taught you about safety. Attempting to adopt this mindset creates an intense internal friction that leaves you feeling drained and exposed. Your brain is literally fighting against itself, trying to protect the old neural pathways that equate caution with life. Every step forward feels like you are walking against a gale force wind of your own making. You finally see that the first barrier isn't the lack of money or the complexity of the global market. It is the invisible ceiling of your own conditioned expectations and the social pressure to remain average. You are now standing at the edge of a deep chasm, realizing that your old self cannot make the jump. When you try to make that leap, your biology stages a full-scale revolt against your ambition. You might open a brokerage account or draft a business plan, but the moment you prepare to commit, your hands begin to shake. This isn't a lack of skill, but your survival software screaming that you're about to walk off a cliff. You likely fall into the trap of half measures, trying to keep one foot in the old world while reaching for the new. You diversify so much that you dilute your potential, or you wait for the perfect moment that never actually arrives. These errors are the virus's way of keeping you tethered to the shore under the guise of being responsible. Then come the voices of the well-meaning skeptics in your inner circle who act as unintentional anchors. Friends and family, still infected by the same scarcity virus, will warn you about the dangers of your new path. They aren't trying to hurt you, but their own fear makes your ambition look like a personal threat to their collective comfort. You begin to realize that the technical obstacles of the market are nothing compared to this internal psychological warfare. Every setback feels like a confirmation of your worst fears, making the virus grow stronger with every small failure. You are discovering that the battle for wealth is won or lost in the quiet moments before you ever take action. This internal battlefield is where your true identity is forged or destroyed. While you stare at your screen, the virus is whispering that you aren't ready and that the risks are far too high. It uses the logic of the past to paralyze your future, making the act of doing nothing feel like the smartest move you could make. You might try to fight back by consuming endless amounts of information, hoping that knowledge will eventually silence the fear. But the virus is clever. It turns your education into a form of procrastination. You become a professional student of success, collecting theories while your bank account remains a monument to your hesitation. This happens because your brain is still trying to solve a 21st century economic problem with a Stone Age survival kit. In the wild, a mistake meant death, so your biology evolved to prioritize the avoidance of loss over the pursuit of gain. In the modern markets, however, this exact instinct ensures that you miss every significant wave of growth. Look closely at the decisions you consider safe and you will find they are often the most dangerous ones of all. Keeping your money in a low-interest savings account feels secure, but inflation is silently eroding your purchasing power every single day. You are essentially paying for the feeling of safety with the very wealth you are trying to build. The world around you is designed to reinforce this cycle of scarcity through constant comparison and consumerism. You are encouraged to spend your capital on status symbols that provide a temporary hit of dopamine while draining your long-term leverage. This is the virus's ultimate trick, making you look wealthy to others while you are becoming financially hollow on the inside. Breaking away from this pattern requires you to embrace a level of social discomfort that most people find unbearable. You have to be willing to be misunderstood by those who still worship at the altar of the steady paycheck. The virus uses your need for tribal belonging to pull you back into the line of the mediocre and the broke. Every time you give in to the scarcity mindset, you aren't just losing a single opportunity, you are compounding your fear. This psychological interest builds up over time, making each future leap feel even more impossible than the last. You are training your brain to believe that you are a victim of circumstances rather than the architect of your own economy. You must confront the reality that the economy doesn't care about your comfort or your desire for certainty. It is a cold, indifferent system that rewards those who can master their internal biology and act in the face of uncertainty. The trap isn't the market, the taxes, or the competition, it is the software running inside your own head. This internal code is still operating on a logic that prioritizes survival over prosperity, treating every financial risk like a lethal predator in the tall grass. You are essentially trying to navigate a high-speed digital landscape using a map carved into a stone tablet. Until you update this primitive operating system, your potential will always be capped by your biology's desperate need for safety. Most people mistake abundance for blind optimism, but true wealth requires a cold, clinical detachment from the fear of loss. The scarcity virus thrives on your emotional attachment to every dollar, making you blind to the massive asymmetric returns that exist just beyond your comfort zone. You must learn to view capital not as a life support system to be hoarded, but as a tool to be deployed and multiplied. While you hesitate, the invisible tax of inflation and the compounding cost of missed opportunities are quietly eroding your future. The virus whispers that doing nothing is the safest choice, yet this passivity is the most dangerous gamble of all. You are essentially betting that the world will stop changing just because you are too afraid to move with it. This realization forces a brutal confrontation between the person you were taught to be and the person the modern economy demands you become. You cannot negotiate with a parasite that is hardwired into your nervous system. You have to starve it of its primary fuel, your compliance. The path to true financial freedom begins the moment you stop asking for permission from your own fear. You stand at this crossroads, feeling the immense weight of every decision you have ever made. The realization that your own biology is the enemy is often enough to break even the strongest will. You might feel a sense of exhaustion, a quiet acceptance that perhaps you were never meant to escape the trap. The scarcity virus has spent thousands of years perfecting its grip on the human psyche. It is woven into your DNA, a relic of a time when caution meant survival and ambition meant death. Trying to fight it feels like trying to hold back the tide with your bare hands, a noble but ultimately futile effort. At this point, most people simply stop fighting and let the current of mediocrity take them back to shore. They convince themselves that the struggle is not worth the potential reward, choosing the familiar ache of lack over the terrifying unknown of abundance. They settle back into their routines, telling themselves that they tried their best and that the system was simply rigged against them. You might find yourself looking at your life and realizing that the walls of your financial prison are thicker than you imagined. The debt, the obligations, and the social expectations have formed a concrete shell that no amount of mindset shifting can crack. It is a somber moment of clarity where you recognize that the dream of true wealth might just be a beautiful lie. This is the part where the story usually ends for the average person, with a sigh of resignation and a return to the status quo. You stop looking for opportunities and start looking for excuses to justify your continued stagnation. The fire that was lit at the beginning of this journey fades into a dull ember, barely visible against the darkness of your old reality. You decide to rejoin the ranks of the comfortable, accepting the steady paycheck and the slow erosion of your potential as a fair trade for peace of mind. The voices of the skeptics no longer sound like anchors, they sound like the voice of reason returning to claim you. You have finally accepted that the scarcity mindset is not a trap you can escape, but the atmosphere you were born to breathe. There is a strange, hollow peace in giving up, a relief that comes when you stop trying to be more than what your biology dictates. You look back at your brief moment of rebellion with a mix of nostalgia and regret, wondering what might have happened if you were just a little bit stronger. But the silence of your bank account and the predictability of your days provide a cold comfort that you mistake for safety. But as you prepare to walk away and leave these ideas behind, a chilling thought begins to surface in the back of your mind. You realize that the scarcity virus was not just trying to keep you safe, it was hiding something much more sinister about the way the world actually works. There is one final, devastating layer to this trap that you have not even begun to see yet. You begin to see that the scarcity virus didn't just want you to stay small, it wanted you to remain predictable and easily managed. By retreating into what you thought was safety, you have actually walked straight into a cage designed by the very forces you were trying to escape. This is the moment where the comfort of your self-imposed exile starts to feel like a prison cell. You look at the structures of modern society, the debt cycles, the endless consumption, and the rigid career paths, and see them for what they truly are. They are not pathways to stability, but sophisticated harvesting machines fueled by the fear of those who refuse to take risks. Your biology's obsession with avoiding loss has made you the perfect fuel for a system that profits from your stagnation. The safe life you have accepted is actually a slow-motion catastrophe where your most valuable asset, time, is traded for the mere illusion of security. Every day you spend in this state of paralysis is a day you are paying a hidden tax that no accountant can ever calculate. You are essentially subsidizing the abundance of others with the currency of your own unlived potential. This is the moment where the false floor of your reality drops away, revealing the true stakes of the game you are playing. You finally understand that there is no middle ground and no neutral territory in this economic war. Either you master the virus and dictate your own terms, or you remain a silent casualty in a world that has already moved on without you. To stop being a casualty, you must perform a radical internal surgery on your own perception of value. This isn't about positive thinking or manifesting wealth through sheer willpower. It is about recognizing that the very fear you feel is the compass pointing toward your greatest opportunities. The secret the scarcity virus has been hiding is that the modern economy is actually built on a foundation of infinite digital leverage. While your biology screams that resources are finite, the reality is that value is created through innovation and solved problems. You have been playing a game of musical chairs while the world was building an infinite number of new rooms. Mastering this virus requires you to intentionally lean into the discomfort that your ancestors spent lifetimes trying to avoid. You must train yourself to see a market crash not as a disaster, but as a clearance sale for the courageous. When everyone else is retreating into the cave of safety, that is your signal to step out into the open field where the real growth happens. This shift in perspective transforms your relationship with capital from a defensive shield into an offensive weapon. You no longer see money as something to be protected from the world, but as a force to be projected into it. Every dollar becomes a soldier in your private army, working around the clock to capture new territory while you sleep. The resolution of the conflict lies in understanding that the greatest risk is not losing what you have, but failing to become who you could be. In the old world, survival was the goal, but in the new world, survival is the baseline and impact is the currency. You are finally breaking the link between your biological fear and your economic actions. You are now connecting the dots between the primitive survival kit and the high-speed digital reality you actually inhabit. By overriding the impulse to hoard, you unlock the ability to invest in yourself and the systems that scale. This is the moment where you stop being a consumer of fear and start becoming a producer of value. The walls of the cage you perceived earlier begin to dissolve as you realize they were made of nothing but your own compliance. You are no longer easily managed or predictable because you have stopped following the script written by your biology. Your new operating system is designed for expansion, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of asymmetric returns. This is the climax of your internal war, where the old self finally surrenders to the architect of the future. You are standing on the edge of a reality where scarcity is a choice and abundance is a calculated outcome. The only thing left to do is to take the final step and prove that the virus no longer has a host in your mind. That final step isn't a physical movement, but a total inversion of how you perceive value and risk. You stop viewing capital as a shield to hide behind and start seeing it as a high-velocity tool for global impact. The fear that once paralyzed you is now the very signal that tells you exactly where the greatest opportunities are hiding. By starving the virus of your fear, you have effectively rewritten your internal operating system for the modern age. You no longer react to market volatility with the panic of a hunted animal, but with the calculated precision of a master strategist. The Stone Age survival kit has finally been replaced by a wealth engine that thrives on the very uncertainty that breaks everyone else. Every element of the trap, the social pressure, the debt cycles, and the biological limits, now serves as fuel for your upward momentum. You understand that true wealth is the natural byproduct of your ability to remain rational while the rest of the world is governed by ancient, irrational instincts. You have moved from the ranks of the harvested to the position of the architect, dictating the terms of your own economic reality. This is the moment where the scarcity virus is permanently eradicated from your psyche, leaving behind a vacuum that only abundance can fill. You are no longer fighting for mere survival. You are architecting a legacy that will outlast your own biology. The trap has been dismantled, the cage is gone, and for the first time in your life, you are truly free to build without limits. With the virus gone, your daily reality begins to shift in ways that seem almost magical to the uninitiated. You no longer see costs, you see investments. You no longer see competition, you see potential collaborators in a vast, expanding ocean of value. This newfound clarity is the ultimate competitive advantage in a world still blinded by the fog of survival. Your legacy is no longer a distant dream, but a structure you build with every intentional choice you make. By breaking the cycle of scarcity, you are not just changing your bank account, but altering the trajectory of your entire bloodline. You have become the ancestor who finally refused to be a victim of primitive biology. But remember, the eradication of the scarcity virus is only the first step in a much larger evolution of your personal power. While you have cleared the mental wreckage, you must now master the specific mechanics of how this new abundance actually flows through the modern world. The game has changed, and your old tools are now obsolete in the face of these new, high-leverage systems. To truly capitalize on this freedom, you must understand the hidden architecture of digital leverage that fuels the world's most successful creators. If you are ready to stop just surviving and start dominating the new economy, we need to look at how to turn your newfound mindset into a tangible, scalable empire. The journey into the mechanics of infinite wealth begins right now.